Hey there everyone, welcome back to Measure and Mix. Today I'm going to be taking some trash and turning it into some home decor. If you are new to my channel and like DIYs on a budget, make sure to hit that subscribe button and don't forget to ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on any new videos. Let's get started. This first DIY came to me while I was eating this pizza that came out of this box. So this pizza box, I think came from Walmart. It had a thin crust flatbread pizza in it. I'm just cutting off the side so it's all even and setting it aside. And now I'm gonna take 2 of these 1-gallon paint stir sticks that I just had in my stash. You could use whatever you have, popsicle sticks or regular wood, whatever works that you have lying around. And I'm just gonna cut off the little indented part on the top of each of these stirred sticks to make them just straight pieces. Once I got those cut off, I'm gonna take 1 of the paint sticks and I'm gonna cut it in half. So it measures 17.5 inches once you cut off that little curved part. So I cut the 2 pieces at 8 3/4 inches long. Now I'm going to take those cut pieces and hot glue them to each side of the box on the inside, and then hot glue the longer piece to the top of the cut pieces, so that way it makes a handle. So I'm kind of making like an old school toolbox kind of deal here. And then I just gave this 2 coats of some cream colored chalk paint that I had in my stash. I'm all out of white chalk paint at the moment. I'm waiting for a delivery. So the cream color is what I have, but I actually like how it turned out. And then once it's all dry, I just came back with some twine and hot glued it to the middle of the handle and started wrapping it around and just hot glued the end and secured it down so that a section of the handle just has the twine, just to give it a little bit more interest. And that was it. I just decorated it with some things that I already had around my house, and I just think this makes a cute little farmhouse piece without spending any money and using what you have. For this next DIY, I'm going to be using a cereal box. You could use whatever type of cardboard you have lying around your home. I'm just going to go ahead and cut off a piece of this cereal box, one side of it, and I am going to draw out the letter Z because my last name starts with a Z, so I am going to do that. Originally, I was going to do 4 letters and spell out the word home and do something a little bit different with these letters, but it took me a little bit to box in the letters, so like you'll see here in a minute. So it took me about a half an hour to finish a letter, just 1 letter. So I didn't have time, unfortunately, to do all 4 letters. So that's why I just went with my last initial. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take the cereal box and cut a piece off to use as the sides to box this Z in. And then you see here that I cut like little tabs off the cereal box and hot glued those down to the Z. And then the other part of the tab I used to hot glue to the sides that I am putting on the Z. I just did this all the way around the Z, so that way it was all boxed in.
I can feel the sun and how the wind makes way across the fields. Let me take a breath.
Next, I'm just gonna take my cream colored chalk paint and give this a couple coats of chalk paint and let it dry. Now from here, you could really do anything with this. You could flip it over and cover the whole front of it with some moss and have yourself a moss letter. But I decided to go with kind of what I saw off of Pinterest. This is where I was inspired to do this from, and put some flowers inside of my letter. So I just filled it up with some Spanish moss that I had, and then I just started filling it up with some flowers that I had on hand from Dollar Tree. I started off with some peonies and then some pink hydrangeas and some cream colored roses. A lot of these flowers were from older projects that I had done, so I just picked those apart and added them to this one. And then I took some lace ribbon from Dollar Tree and hot glued it to the back of my letter for a little hanger, and then I also tied a little bow and hot glued that to the top of the ribbon, just to add a little bit more interest. And I think this turned out really pretty and perfect for spring, and it didn't cost me anything.
He's waiting down the line to pick up the pieces. Hey, you'll be alright. You'll be alright. There will be someone waiting down the line.
For this third DIY, I'm going to use these little mushroom cans. They're about half the size of a regular can. I just took the paper off of them. I used the hairdryer just to loosen the glue. And then I used a piece of sandpaper to sand off the stamped numbers that were on it. And then also just to give the cans a light coat of sanding, so that way I could kind of galvanize them and rust them. So I'm gonna do that by just adding some vinegar, pouring that over top of the cans inside a container, and then I took a white towel, make sure it's a towel that you don't care about, and then I'm just gonna wipe the cans and then place the damp towel soaked in vinegar over top of the cans. Then I let it sit overnight, and once I uncovered the cans, this is what I was left with. It was a galvanized rustic look, so I really like how it turned out, and I wanted it to be kind of rusty and old and weathered looking. And now what I'm going to do is take some of these wooden beads. I got these off of Amazon. I'll leave a link down below. I just hot glued 3 of them to the bottom of each one of the cans, and then I stained them with a little bit of dark walnut stain. And then I let those completely dry, and then that was it. I just filled mine up with some Spanish moss and some little succulents that I had left over from a project from Dollar Tree. And I think these make really cute little flower pots. You could even plant some real herbs in them if you wanted to. I love how they turned out.
I'll use a friend. I'll use a friend. Don't let your fear subside. That's how you.
For this DIY, I'm using a regular size green bean can. I use the same vinegar method on this can as I did on the mushroom cans to make it look rustic and galvanized. And I'm going to use this pie plate that I had lying around and never used to put on top of the can to make it a cake stand. So I just added some E6000 and some hot glue on top of the can and glued the cake plate to it, and I think it turned out really cute.
Down the line.
And for the last DIY, I'm going to use this Simply Lemonade jug. I just cleaned it out and took all of the stickers off of it. And now what I'm going to do is just take my little engraving heat tool. What is it called? I don't even remember what it's called now. But anyways, I'm going to take that tool that heats up, and I'm going to melt the plastic around the top to take off the little lip where the lid for the container goes. And then I did cut like a little slit in the bottom because I was planning on making a watering can out of this, but I couldn't figure out what to use as the spout. So I don't know, maybe you guys can figure that out if you want to make a watering can. But after I cut that all off, I just used a piece of sandpaper and sanded down the edges so they wouldn't be so rough. Then I just mixed some of this aqua acrylic paint with some of my cream colored chalk paint and some moss colored chalk paint together to get kind of a more blue-green color that I liked that matched my home a little bit better, maybe a little more turquoisey. And then I just painted 2 coats of paint onto this. And then I had this matte clear spray paint to protect it, and I just spray painted it. Then once it was dry, I forgot that I wanted to add some rust colored look onto this, so I used my dark walnut stain and just added it over top of that, which it worked out fine. And I wiped the excess off. Then lastly, I had this bunch of tulips from Dollar Tree in my house, so I added that to the container, and this turned out to be a cute little spring vase.
And how the wind makes way across the fields. Let me take a breath.
Thank you guys so much for watching today. I hope these DIYs inspired you to create some trash to treasure. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay safe. Take care. Bye-bye.